Boy, yeah. Nature versus nurture. Okay, I want to invite you to give a little bit of thought to your fundamental beliefs about spirituality and your ability to access spiritual powers on a consistent and reliable basis. Is it nature or is it nurture? Because a lot of times, almost every time actually, when I talk to my people about getting trained before being initiated or getting trained after you've been initiated, invariably somebody will throw into the conversation the idea that I don't have to be trained or being trained isn't that important because spirituality is natural. It comes naturally to me. I have it, and I don't have to have someone tell me how to do it. All right? And I get it. You know, we have within us, as people of African descent, something. There's something, and and we feel it. Bang, 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 bang. It's like going off inside you sometimes in your body, in your being. There's just something that resonates with a higher power at this super intense frequency, and it's real. Um, and so I can't deny that, and I don't want to diminish that, but I just want to suggest that there's a higher level of purpose that can be achieved with that power if you are willing to submit yourself to an organized, structured, learning and developmental experience. Okay? So let me compare this to something else so you can understand where I'm coming from. If you wanted to become a lawyer or a chemist or a doctor or something like that, by the time you were 20, 25 years old, well, I could pretty much pull out an educational plan and I could show you everything you need to do from kindergarten to middle school to high school to undergraduate to grad school. I could lay it out for you and say, here's your educational plan. If you want to be this by the time you're 25, these are the sequence of events. Okay? And you could move to different cities, you could move to different states. And so long as you followed that plan and you hit the standards at every level, it's likely that you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a chemist or a filmmaker or whatever by the time you're 25. Now, that removes a whole bunch of guesswork. It removes a lot of anxiety. It allows you to focus in on exactly just what needs to happen. And then all that ashe, all that power that you feel within yourself, all that other level of access to energy that you know is real, you can focus it strategically and deliberately and purposefully at the right time. You're not just trying to, create these high stress situations wherein, this you would just exhibit these powers. I'm kind of reminded of the Incredible Hulk. That's sort of how we operate with our spirituality. We're like Incredible Hulk. We're trying to create some kind of a high stress environment where adrenaline kicks in and then you're transformed into something great. And it just doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't have to be like that. You can and you ought to really focus on the things that need to happen that will facilitate greatness anyway. It's going to put you right in the line of greatness. And then at the punchline, you can really flex, right? When the time is really necessary, you can boom, explode, and you can, give some real razzle dazzle. All right? Now, the challenge that you face, I understand, is that unlike The Western system, where law, medicine, chemistry, etc., is all laid out. On the side of Orisha lifestyle, it doesn't appear to be laid out very well. And there aren't that many places that you could go and just see step by step what you're supposed to get. And the people who you would depend upon to give you that, they don't have it structured for you that way. And so even if you're asking for certain kinds of explanations and a kind of a curriculum that you're supposed to follow step by step, chances are your ritual specialist, your priest or your priestess, probably isn't steeped in that kind of a knowledge to be able to lay it out for you step by step. All right. And so that's why the work that I'm doing in the School of Orisha Studies, the work that I'm doing in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy, through my publications, through these videos, these things are so important, because what they're doing is they're laying out a pathway of excellence for you. They're setting out a framework and a standard for you to follow, a developmental process, right? That matches where you are. Here's step one, here's step two, here's step three, here's step four. Here's, different areas and sections where you can focus and get your understanding together. And like I said, gradually set the stage for you to then explode when the time is ripe, but not just be, you know, under this idea that you got it and so you don't need any training. That's craziness. You need training. You have to be trained, right? So I'm thinking, for example, right now, there's a verse of Ifa that comes from Oturupa Meji, and I won't tell the whole thing, but you can look it up. It's a verse that talks about a young guy named Oyekpolu. Oyekpolu was an initiate. He was initiated as a young child. His mother was a priestess, his father was a priest, but he spent his whole life ignoring the training. He never got, versed in what he was supposed to do. And his parents died and he still didn't know. And then it fell to him to do the ancestral rites and he didn't know what to do, right? And so it's a cautionary tale that tells you, look, even if you're born into it and you're an initiate, even if your mother was a priestess and your father was a priest, guess what? When the time comes for you to show and prove, you are going to need to be trained. All right? And so I'm urging you, honor your ancestors, because your ancestors weren't half-steppers. Your ancestors were not, you know, crazy about improvising. They weren't over relying upon their spirituality. They were getting all of the specialized knowledge and training that they needed to be the best at what they needed to be. Which is why at the Reconstruction era, when Booker T. Washington made his entrance onto the scene, he was telling you, hey, everything you need to do, a black man is going to be the one to do it. If you need clothes made, a black man is going to do it. If you need to build a ship, a black man will do it. If you need to build a road, it's going to be a black man. Everything that you need to know how to do is going to be a black man who will be able to do it for you, because we were well trained, right? And it's not just because the white man forced us to do it. When we came here, we were already working iron. We were already planting crops. We were already making clothes. We were already making farms and raising animals. We already knew that. That's why when they went into war with our people, they chose people who were already trained. This is part of our heritage and our tradition. We believe in training. That's our ancestral way. So don't, cut corners and disrespect your ancestors by just saying, I got it naturally. No. The more gifted you are, the more important training is. So please, get trained before you get initiated. Aboru aboye, aboshishe.